radnetwork.com and is for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, accounts, or descriptions of this madness without the express permission of the Rad Network and Williams Broadcasting and Rob's Really Mean Lawyers is prohibited. So just don't do it.
It's the Rob and Steve Sports Show.
Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. LeBron James with the rejection. Oh, great block. James out of nowhere. Huge defensive play by the four-time MVP.
Welcome to 2 hours of sports and nothing but sports.
This is for sole possession of the lead. Maybe. Yes, sir!
Email the show, ras@theradnetwork.com.
Play clock at 5. Pass is intercepted at the goal line by Malcolm Butler. Unreal.
And I'm sorry, but I can't believe the call.
Me neither.
I cannot believe the call.
And now, the Rad Network presents the Rob and Steve Sports Show.
All right, thanks for being here. We do love doing this, and sometimes the day before the show or the morning of the show, you really start to get like, ooh, it's so much fun to talk sports with Steve. So here we are now, Steve. Listeners will notice because they do. They email us in. You are in Reno today. We can tell by your backdrop. And if I remember correctly, you were in Vegas yesterday. Do I have that right?
That is correct.
You bounce around, your schedule changes different in football season, but I try to remember because I don't want to wind up texting you while you're on a plane and then you land and I ruin something for you. So I did not text you because I didn't know when you were on a plane yesterday, because last night was one of the if you're in the Pacific time zone, yesterday late afternoon to last night was one of the best. It's one of the sports days you revel to have. And there was some anticipation going in that we had a game 7 in the NHL and the Sabres and their Cinderella story. Any game 7, just give me. You had to start to the Spurs OKC. So I knew that going in. Plus I had the A's game that was going to be on other things. And it just turned into one of these great sports days to go back and forth, particularly between those three. Were you able to enjoy any of it before we break it down?
No, I can't fully say that because I'm telling you, I'm sitting there, and I want to say I'm at the airport at the time because I leave for the airport when my wife picks me up on Mondays. I fly up every Monday to Reno, so I leave the house at about 5:20 and go to the airport. But I'm on my phone and I have a sports app, and I'm like watching play by play, last play. And I hate it when they go into a timeout because then we just sit there and wait because I can't get, here we go again. I can't get the streaming services on my phone.
Right.
So I'm not able to watch them. So I just sit there and it's like a little ticker. There's a lot of anticipation, just waiting to see what happens. And I watch a decent amount of baseball games and hockey games on my phone as well when I am traveling.
So last night, we'll go out of order just in terms of importance. I thought of you for whatever the entire, I don't know, first of all, I'm with your wife. Basketball and to a lesser degree hockey, it's the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter that really matter. I'll watch if it's on, but I'm flipping around. But when you get to those last, and maybe does Cindy, does she say 2 minutes or 5 minutes? I forget.
She says 2, but I think she really means more of 5.
So it obviously if the game's over, but I'll still check in, like last night. And during that last 5 minutes of the Spurs OKC game, all the way till the end of it, I thought of you over and over again because of what you reminded everyone of yesterday and what I remember from the very beginning. Early on with Victor Wembanyama, like way early, ahead of everyone other than bomb throwers. Because you're not one, and you were like, I'm telling you, if he stays healthy, and if he progresses the way I see, he's going to be one of the best players we've ever seen in modern times. And he might be. And last night was that. He was extraordinary. Tirico made a comment, and I took it a step further. I forget what Tirico said exactly. I think maybe he said maybe it was more of a general comment. It was about Wembanyama, but that's the best game overall I've ever seen him play, and certainly the fourth quarter and OT. And what was funny was I was on the basketball game, and the Spurs were up by 9 in the fourth quarter, and I clicked over to hockey. And then when I clicked back, it's 91-90. I'm like, what? What happened? So reading this does not do it justice. Victor Wembanyama racked up 41 points and 24 rebounds. Ultimately, a 122-115 double overtime win over OKC, which gives the Spurs the 1-0 edge. You got your road team winning game one. San Antonio was trailed by 3 points with 27 seconds left. In the first OT, this was dumb. When dumb as in amazing. When Stephon Castle flipped the pass to Wemby just past half court, next to the OKC logo, 28 footer to tie it at 108. Second overtime, Wemby himself outscored OKC 9-7, went 3 of 3 from the floor, 4 rebounds. None of that impresses you as much as watching it. It was extraordinary to watch and to see Wembanyama put on a clinic. And everybody wants to make a big deal of, oh, was he motivated because he had to watch SGA get the MVP? And he made a comment afterwards, like, maybe, whatever. I don't care. That was everything you said it would be a couple years ago. And what a win for the Spurs on the road. This changed. Am I becoming that guy? Because to me, this changes everything.
I think it does change everything. This is the part where we had talked about the Spurs match up so well against the Thunder. That's where the Thunder struggle. We've seen it during the regular season. We're now seeing it in the postseason. And you didn't even get into his 24 rebounds, 9 offensive rebounds. That is so impressive for anyone to do in a game. There's guys that can't. I mean, Jalen Duren got 3 total rebounds in a full game that he played, and Wemby's getting 9 offensive rebounds. He is such a star. I mean, I was going to say freak of nature. I mean, he's so big. He's so athletic. He can shoot, rebound, block shots. He single-handedly just changes the game. And offenses for the opposing team, their ability to be able to drive to the lane, which is what the Thunder like to do, but you can't do that against the Spurs with Wemby in the middle.
Did we anoint, because we were talking about it recently, and I don't remember if it was Wemby or not, did we anoint him as the first billion-dollar player when it's time? Because he's going to get a hell of a contract.
The first 100 million?
Yeah, sorry, 100 million.
Yeah, I think he's probably going to be, if I'm paying anybody 100 million, it's this guy, just based on his age and how he changes everything. My whole hesitation would be the injury factor for his size and can he stay healthy. But this guy just changes games. And I do think, SGA deserved the MVP. I'm not taking that away from him, but I think we're going to be watching the changing of the guard here. And he's already the defensive player of the year. I feel he should have been the defensive player of the year for 3 straight years. So you could be looking at the defensive player of the year, the MVP, pretty much almost every year moving forward. And there's still some great players, so I can't fully give him that part, but he's phenomenal to watch.
De'Aaron Fox didn't play, by the way. I mean, this was this way. I know we all overreact the day after, and a lot of people are saying a couple years later than you did, the amazement that is Wembanyama. And so one comment I heard that I thought, okay, he's the new poster child for the NBA. I'm okay with that. That sounds about right moving forward. Another person went through all the other storylines in the NBA and compared them to Wembanyama. And basically was saying, and this was Colin Cowherd. I was just watching his first hour a little bit while I was prepping the show. He was basically saying everything's boring compared to Wembanyama. If you have Wembanyama on one side and on the other side, you're like, is LeBron coming back? You're like, Everything is, I want Wembanyama. Now, all the greats. Oh, I'm sorry. This is the setup to the next part of the conversation. People are also saying this, and this is where we do that thing, right? Jordan Spieth's the next Tiger Woods. So is Rory McIlroy. So is Ricky Fowler. No, they're not. Okay. People are saying Jordan because we now have guys like us, guys our age, who can remember well, and even guys 10 years younger than us can remember well. Jordan, and now when like we're shooting past Kobe, we're shooting past LeBron. I don't know that that's fair. I don't know that that's right. But here's the point of bringing it up: all the greats have their banana. It's always Jordan and Pippen, and of course, you got Shaq and Kobe, etc. Is because boy did he look like it last night. Is Dylan Harper? Is he the one? I mean, by the way, their front three are what 21, 22, and 20, something like that's ridiculous how young they are. Is Harper the guy?
I'm hoping he is. I mean, Stephon Castle's a great player. The problem with him has been I've never felt he was that true point guard.
Castle?
And yeah, Stephon Castle with that true point guard, and he shares duties with De'Aaron Fox. I was never a big fan, and you can roll it back to when we talked about it with the Kings. I never fully felt that he fit with San Antonio. And he wanted out of Sacramento, and I'm glad they got him out. I just don't think he's a true fit with the Spurs. Dylan Harper has really stepped up, and I'm hoping that he can continue to develop to roll into that. Castle's just got to be a lot better with the ball protection. As you saw, that 11 turnovers, you can't have that. But like the Thunder, they're so young. Their future is so bright. And that's why I go in and ask on the Lakers. I mean, seriously, so they bring back LeBron? Are you telling me? And this is why I never felt the Lakers could succeed, even with Luka not getting hurt. And if Foster, do you really think for the next several years, the way the rosters are built currently, that they're going to be able to compete with the Spurs, with the Thunder, etc.? And that's where I ask about calling it back with the Warriors. Yes, they bring LeBron in there. That's a lot of great players. That's a very ancient old team. And it'd be fun to see what they can do. But it's going to be very, very short lived. So if they can't bring LeBron or the Warriors can't bring Giannis, at a certain point, don't you have to blow it up? Because you're not going to be able to compete with these teams that are at the top of your conference and are so young.
This is what I was thinking about today when I was looking at how young the Spurs are. It was 2 years ago we were saying these same things about the Thunder because of how young they were, all of the draft picks, everything that they've been done. And I started thinking about it, and you pointed out the Spurs match up well with the Thunder. Okay, great. Well, the Thunder, they still have the time, the energy, the youth. If they need to make a correction, like we see teams do countlessly in all the sports, to go after one team in particular, like the Knicks were built to beat the Celtics. Oops. But they go after that, right? And we see this in football all the time. OKC can still do that. They can add what they need to add to go with the Spurs. My thinking is in the West, aren't we at 3 tiers now? And the top tier is 2 teams, Spurs, OKC. And it feels like there's a gap. I don't know if it's a big gap. Nuggets, T-Wolves, can they do anything? Can they do anything? They're going to get to the playoffs. Can they do anything? And then you get into the lessers who are trying, the Warriors, you already covered them, and the Rockets, etc. I don't see how you compete against these two for the next, let's call it 5 years at least.
Okay, so let's go back to a comment I've made a couple of times. So you're the Thunder. Hartenstein, good free agent pickup. We saw him. He's not able to play. What if the Thunder move a couple of players and some draft capital for Giannis?
Right.
Now Giannis in the middle. So now we're going to give Wembanyama a much more difficult time because I can match up with him. It allows me, I think, to compete with the Spurs and or be better than the Spurs. And that's going to force the Spurs to go get a true point guard. And maybe Dylan Harper can step into that role or make something happen. But this is why I keep saying, of all the teams you mentioned, that is young, has the capital, has the players, Giannis to the OKC, and chances are they'll never even discuss the topic. I mean, it won't even come up. But could you imagine? I mean, that's the move I'm looking to make if I'm the Thunder.
But and that's my point. Whether it's Giannis or something else that OKC does because they can do what they and look, it sounds like I've buried the Thunder. I haven't. I'm just saying moving forward, the point of this is it's those two.
Mhm.
I don't see Giannis going. You already covered the Warriors. Giannis, whoever, I don't care. I don't see how the other ones in the West right now, as we sit here. Now you got the draft coming up. I don't know what happens. It's just you look at OKC and the Spurs, and to me, it's like, well, there's the West. Okay, everybody else is going to get in. They're going to play. They're going to lose. Blah blah blah. I just don't. I don't. There's such a difference in the talent level between those two teams and everyone else, even in the stacked West.
And they've floated this idea. It's never gotten any traction. The NBA has about just kind of throwing it into one conference.
Right.
And just that, hey, look, let's seed them one through, you know, 1 through
30.
16
Whatever.
or however you want to do it. And it would give the West teams a lot better shot at getting there because they're not just beating each other up. But then outside of the Celtics and, maybe the Knicks, we'll see how they end up here. But then, teams like the Pistons, I mean, you drop them in the West, they're competing for the play-in tournament. They're not competing for the number one seed.
You go to 16 where you're going to get rid of the play-ins, whatever, but only 3 teams from what used to be the East are in because everyone from the West is so dominating. No. But let me ask you this. Okay. Such a big win for any team to win on the road, especially game 1. How does this alter the rest of this series? Are we still, because this is where everybody's split. A lot of people are saying it's still going 7. Come on, it's OKC. And others are going, maybe they're outmatched. And of course, we bring up everything. OKC had that week off. Ooh, were they rusty? Ooh, can they get back? I think we overthink all of this. But that did change things yesterday. How big did it change it, in your opinion, for the Spurs to steal that one?
I think it was big because that was a gut check for the Thunder. They got to sit back now and say, whoa, hold it a second. We really thought we were going on to win the NBA championship. Yeah, we might lose a game or two to the Spurs, but it's our series. We're going to control it and dominate it. And now it's like, okay, at best we're 1-1 going back to San Antonio, which is a tough place to win. How and what are we going to do from here? And I think they're regrouping. I do give it to you had all that time off and maybe they weren't really ready. You look at SGA, he did not have a good game at all. He didn't shoot the ball well. And Jalen Williams has been in, he's been out. He's got to get back into the flow of this roster and become part of that team as well. I give Alex Caruso a lot of credit, man. This guy stepped up. I've always been a big critic of his from the offensive standpoint, but anybody can put up 31 points and shoot the way he did in last night's game. He is such a defensive specialist, and he's fun to watch on that end. I just sometimes question why is he shooting the ball, but he's proved me wrong with that once again. But the Thunder will be there. It's not over. I think the reality of those losses that they saw early on in the regular season that they may have forgotten about or said, no, that's regular season, not the playoffs. I think really sunk in and hit it home with them going, wow, we have a true tough uphill battle now because we're down 0-1 against this team.
For me, as impressive as Wemby was, and he outscores the whole team, whatever, in the second overtime or whatever it was, it's not like the Spurs walked into OKC and beat them by 30. I mean, it was a hell of a game. I'm still of the mindset it's a 7-game series. It's just that OKC's behind the 8 ball. Now, I'll let you know tomorrow night, late, whether or not I still think that, because if OKC somehow loses the second one at home,
wow.
that changes it. To me, though, I expect a 6 or 7 game series.
And I'm with you. I mean, going in, I thought it'd be 6. I didn't think it'd be 7. I thought the Spurs could steal a couple. Honestly, I thought it would be more like game 2, game 4, something to that extent. I was not expecting game 1.
So they will play again, as I said, tomorrow night. San Antonio's at OKC. Tonight, we get started with the East. Cleveland is at New York. The Cavs are at the Knicks, built to beat the Celtics. They're not around. It's 5 o'clock. It's on ESPN. The Cavs just destroyed Steve's Pistons in Game 7, but they were so wobbly that, last month or more of the season. Actually, you didn't like it the whole season. You were disappointed for the most part in how the Cavs played off and on the whole season. They certainly didn't look great throughout the last month and then into the playoffs, but then they're like schizophrenic. I think you were talking about this yesterday. You didn't use an offensive word to mental health people, but it's like you don't know what Cavs you're going to get. And here they are at the Knicks, second year in a row, Eastern Conference Finals. All the Knicks fans, listen to you. Seems to me like it is the Knicks series to win, but you keep saying, wait a minute, the Cavs match up well to them.
I think they do. I like their depth. Jared Allen has to show up. And the matchup that I'm really looking forward to is this Donovan Mitchell, who's averaging almost 28 points per game in the playoffs, and Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson has made him a star over the playoffs the last several seasons because we've been able to see how good a talent he really is. But the thing that they don't really talk about that much is he's not a great defensive player. So I'm curious to see what Donovan Mitchell's able to do to exploit that. And then there's the Carl Anthony Towns, Mobley factor. And let's see where they can go. Mobley needs to have a big series here as well for the Cavs and just play consistent. I think this is a really exciting series. And I look at the Donovan Mitchell. I don't know if you remember Donovan Mitchell with the Jazz versus Murray with the Nuggets when they were just starting to take the league over. The Nuggets and the Jazz had some great playoff series, and that's what I'm looking at here. That Mitchell Brunson matchup, and who's going to get the best of it.
It's so hard to remember the Jazz being relevant not long ago, but you're so right. So, last night, so we got that game that's going on, and as I said, I flipped over, and the Spurs were up by 9. Whenever I flipped over in the fourth quarter, okay, good. I was glad, A, because I wanted to see the Spurs win, and B, because I had to get over to the hockey game, which I did, and then when I flipped back to the Spurs game, oh my God, they're down by 1. Oh, oops, I'm getting alerts on my phone too. Because after 5 innings, I got an alert on my phone. JT Ginn of the A's had a no hitter. The reason I got an alert was he had his perfect game broken up after 4 to third, and he's got a no hitter. I'm like, okay, 5th inning, I can wait. I can watch the end of the basketball. Flip over. Blah 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 blah. Okay. So I get over the A's game. Everything's done for the night. We'll get to hockey in a bit, and it's nothing. It's our game. It's again. I'm thinking of you. It's a Rob and Steve game. Pitchers duel. Angels, if I remember correctly, they had 5 hits. I'm sorry. A's had 5 hits. Angels had none. Nothing. After 8 innings, and Ginn threw his. I'm almost certain he threw his 99th pitch to end the 8th. Go into the dugout with a no-hitter, but it's tied at 0-0. And the A's did exactly what the A's had to do in the top of the 9th. They scored. They came out and they got a run, and it was a single, a stolen base, and then they had Lawrence Butler pinch hit. He drops a single in. 1-0 A's. The A's load the bases, top of the 9th. Because I'm still at this point, I'm going, Kotze's going to let him pitch, right? No matter what. He's 99 pitches. That's a lot. In fact, that's the season high for the A's already at 99 pitches. He's going to let him come out. And so now I'm thinking, bases loaded. 1 out for the A's, top of the 9th. Certainly, if they score a few more, they got to let Ginn start the inning. They got to. Nick Kurtz is coming up. Double play. Inning over. I'm like, son of a mother. So 1-0. We go into the 9th. And first batter, JT Ginn, who, by the way, looked incredible. He struck out the side in the 7th to end things. And then he in the bottom of the 9th, Mark Kotze, he had Hogan Harris warming up in the bullpen, although that was for Mike Trout if needed. And everybody's hoping Ginn's just going to throw the no-hitter. Instead, leadoff batter Adam Frazier, it was a solid single. There was no, the minute he hit it, I went, oh, well, crap. Now, all I'm thinking is he lost the no-hitter. Oops. Zach Neto comes up, and they left Ginn in to pitch to him. And Kotze said after the game, right? And he's right. Hindsight's always 20/20. He's right. Kotze could have come out, pulled Ginn because hey, you lost your no hitter. I'm gonna bring. Who knows what the bullpen does? He let Ginn pitch to Neto, who just he bombed one to center field. The minute he hit it, Neto stood, and he was not showboating. He was not hot dog. I didn't think. Maybe others would think that. He stood at the plate because he knew, and he was right, and he just watched it, and it flew. Bolte was playing out in center. Butler wasn't out there, and he didn't have a chance. It went over the wall into the trees. I'm like, oh God, the no hitter's gone. The game's gone. A's lose 2-1. Bottom of the ninth, Ginn threw a career high 105 pitches, 64 of them for strikes, struck out 10, walked 1, hit a batter, fanned all 3, as I said, in the 7th to give him his career high of 10 strikeouts. It's only his 30th start, by the way. You've been high on Ginn for a while, rightfully so. I thought he looked amazing last night. It's a crappy way to end if you're a Ginn fan, an A's fan. Really, if you're a baseball fan, like, oh, that's gotta hurt. And it did. Like, you could feel the air just suck out of the A's. But it was. I didn't realize, Steve. Remember we went through that phase where it was no hitter after no hitter after. We have not had a no hitter since Shota Imanaga combined with 2 Cubs relievers in September of 24. And before that, it was Blake Snell in August of 24. We went all last year without a no hitter. That just seems. Is that right?
Okay, and think about what you just said. Since Imanaga with 2 other relievers for a no-hitter, which means we can't even get to a 9-inning no-hitter anymore in baseball because that's how the game has changed. We don't really get to complete games, let alone bring the no-hitters. I hate to think that the no-hitter is going to become an endangered species, but it is trending that way, surprisingly. But we may see that. And I believe Blake Snell's was a complete game. I don't believe he had any relievers in that game as well. But that's one of those things, nobody talks about yet. But and when you watch them go out there, I mean, there's people who, oh no, look, and Ginn took the no-hitter into the 9th, correct?
Yes.
And who? Nope, he should never have gone out there. They should have put in another pitcher. And this is one of my many, many issues with the analytics. It's like, look, you're watching it with your eye. The only thing I would question would be from how you said this was he gave up the first hit. And how does he react to that? How does he look? I'm gassed. I just gave up my hit. Am I done? But I try to view it in the positive of, look, I'm hoping he faces this down the road. And now the manager knows what he needs to do. And he knows what he needs to do when he gives up that hit. And let's figure out how we move forward there. But the pitching decision with that, okay, Frazier got the hit, really went to we got the guy in the bullpen for Mike Trout. And if he can't get Neto, not expecting Neto to take him deep. But it was that, look, if Neto gets on or, he moves the runner over to second, then at that time, we're going to go after Mike Trout or walk him and figure out where we're going to attack the rest of the lineup. I just think that got away from the manager slightly too.
And I agree. I know it's easy to say right now, but had I been texting you, had I known where you were or whatever, I would have texted you right after he gave up the hit, pull Ginn. There was no reason. It was, and it's 1-0. I would, first of all, I would have had more than just what's his name, Hogan up. But I would have the righty up too, and just take him out. He threw his 100th pitch, gave up a. I love that they let him go out there. That's how it. First of all, I know it's wrong, I guess. I don't care. I don't view no hitters by more than one pitcher as a no hitter. Personally, it's not a no hitter to me. It's a bunch of guys that stop the other team. I don't view it. Sorry, Blake Snell's the last complete game. I'm sorry, Blake Snell's the last no hitter in baseball because he threw the game himself. That's how I think. I know that's not the rules. Blah blah blah. I love the Kotze when let him go out there, and I agree with you. The minute that ball hit the ground, he should have been walking out. Now I think. I'm totally projecting here based on what I saw. Part of it was the thing, and especially early in the season, that you love to see. The manager, without saying it out loud, saying to his pitcher, I got you. I believe in you. And the reason I say that is the minute the game ended, and Ginn had as Neto is watching the ball orbit the earth into center field, Neto, in fact, he was staring at his catcher. I think Langoliers are still in, and the batter. And again, not in a stare down way, as the ball has already flown over his head, like, son of a bitch, you just hit that, didn't you? And he slowly turned it around and watched it go. And then he slowly walks to the dugout, and who's there at the top step waiting for him? Kotze. Puts his arm around him. They walk together to the clubhouse. I have no idea what was said, but whatever was said, through his actions, Kotze told Ginn, I got you. And he told his whole pitching staff that. I think that matters. It sucks they lost. I think he should have pulled him out. I think that's where it got away from him. Kotze is very much a player's manager. He was one. And I think maybe that's what happened here. I don't like they lost. I'm okay with the whole totality of it.
And expanding a little bit on the no-hitter part, and I could be wrong on this, but this is my understanding, is the Hall of Fame recognizes a pitcher for going 9 or more innings without permitting a hit and getting the win. There's things in here that need to play a part in that no-hitter. I believe baseball recognizes a no-hitter for a team no-hitter, but any pitcher who throws a no-hitter's name goes into the Hall of Fame as a pitcher who threw a no-hitter. And I'll give you an example. Matt Young pitched for the Red Sox many years ago, and he got beat. I want to say 1-0. He threw a no-hitter, but he walked batters. He had no control. But he doesn't get the full credit for the no-hitter because he didn't win the game. He gave up a run, even though he didn't permit a hit through his 9 innings or whatever that he pitched. So there's history. I mean, teams win and lose on a daily basis. To take the opportunity for a player to put his name in the Hall of Fame, I don't think people, managers, and especially the analytics fully understand the significance of that. And in this case, Kotze does, but your analytics don't understand that. And that's why I am always in favor. Let the guy, look, there's a game tomorrow. Let the guy have his chance at immortality and try to do something very few have been able to do.
And I think you're absolutely right. I think that was the player part of Kotze. All of the things that we've mentioned, because one of the things you notice in the bottom of the ninth, if you were watching, because they didn't take a commercial break, they let us see, Ginn come out, take his throw. Everybody on the A's was so amped for Ginn. They want to be part of it. And Dallas Braden, who threw the perfect game for the A's 2010, he's one of the announcers, and he was saying, This is what it's like. The team feels like they're throwing, in Braden's case, a perfect game. The team feels like they're going to throw a no-hitter. Yeah, and he said, you watch, if there's a close one, they're diving. Even if there's no chance. There was like no chance on the single that broke it up, which, by the way, I prefer. I don't need some CNI ground ball to break up a no-hitter. But the players were in. Nick Kurtz was like through the roof, and he just hit a double play to end the inning, and he was all over again. He's like, you got this, come get it. And I think that's a big part of it as well, and they should let him go out. All right, I got to take a break. I think, by the way, this is the first time this year we've done an entire first segment without saying the 3 initials NFL in the first segment. Oh, darn. We do have a little football, and we'll get to that. We're going to have some fun with that. We got to get to the hockey game last night. Right up Steve's alley. There's more about sports betting that everybody's talking about. Tons of other baseball all after this.
It's the Rob and Steve Sports Show, only on the radnetwork.com.
Longtime maggots will remember Greg from MAP. MAP, as in Maximum Athletic Performance, which guides you to better output through better ingredients, also known as nutrition. Greg has been on the Rad Show many times and will be again, as he simplifies nutrition and helps us all understand what actually works when it comes to fueling our bodies, almost all of which can be found at maptrition.com. Every product is formulated with clinical precision and backed by science and purpose, and maptrition.com has something for every fitness level, even those of us who barely have a fitness level. With nearly 20 years as a nutritionist and a specialization in sports nutrition, Greg works with athletes and everyday individuals to optimize performance, energy, and overall health through smarter fueling strategies, all of which starts at maptrition.com. At the very least, we should all be taking daily multivitamins, and Greg has his formulated for exactly what a man or woman's body needs. Protein is in, but maybe instead of getting yours from mac and cheese with extra protein, you get it from maptrition.com. And of course, all things workout, training, and exercise are available as well. From pre-workout to creatine and other muscle builders to recovery supplements and more, all at maptrition.com. From morning breakfast essentials to post-workout recovery and everything in between, maptrition.com's full range of supplements, proteins, and wellness products are built to power your journey from start to finish. Check out all the products and find what's right for you and order it shipped to you all at maptrition.com. That's maptrition.com. Longtime advertiser Sue Berry, that's Berry with an A, is more important now than ever. Sue and her team have been serving Northern Nevada and the outlying areas for 30 years, and her experience in both commercial and residential lending is vital, as every day we're bombarded with news of interest rates, the market, the economy, and a bunch of other stuff that Sue can actually make sense of while everyone else's eyes glaze over. Now remember, it's Sue Berry with an A, B-A-R-R-Y, SueBerry.com. Most people think berry is spelled like a fruit or Halle Berry, but no, it's Sue Berry with an A, like soul singer Barry White's first name.
I've heard people say,
Stop that. Sue is a broker versus a retail lender, which means she can shop over 150 different lenders to get you the very best rate possible. And on average, someone who uses a broker like Sue saves over $10,000 per loan, which includes refinancing. And if you have a rate at 6.5% or higher, call Sue for a free quote now on a refinance. Sue Berry and her incredible team from Barrett Financial can be found at SueBerry.com. That's Berry with an A. I've been working with Sue and recommending her to you for years. All you need to do is call her now so she can get you pre-approved. Just call your residential and commercial lending expert, Sue Berry, at 775-843-9983. Oh, Rob, stop. You're going too fast. What was the number again? 775-843-9983. Or just head to SueBerry.com. The number's right there. Berry is B-A-R-R-Y. Sue Berry with an A.com. That's Sue Berry, B-A-R-R-Y.com. SueBerry.com.
Disclaimer, Sue Berry, NMLS number 366040. Barrett Financial Group, LLC, NMLS number 181106, Nevada 5091, Equal Housing Opportunity.
This is the Rob and Steve Sports Show. Call the show at 888-587-5355 or email the show at ras@theradnetwork.com.
A couple of follow-ups from our first segment. Game one of the Cavs and Knicks tonight, 5 o'clock Pacific time on ESPN. Failed to mention that OG Anunoby is probable. Okay, that means he's going to play. Which you, Steve, I know when we were talking about Anunoby last week, you're like, whoa, this could be big. So it's got to be big that he is playing.
Yes, I think the Knicks really need him to have this advantage in this matchup. So I'm glad to hear he's playing. I want both teams at full strength at this part.
Always. We were talking about the A's game last night, too. And our buddy Jeff, who works with us here, in fact, he's co-owner of theradnetwork.com. He had sent me a text about the show, and I texted him back, so he knew I was alive, alert, and awake. And right away he said, "Are you watching the A's?" I said, "Yes." And that was in the bottom of the ninth, rather, going into the bottom of the ninth when Ginn has his no-hitter and the A's are up 1-0. So right away, Ginn gives up the single, and I texted to Jeff something like, "Well, that was a bummer," or something like that. And then 3 minutes later, game's over. 2-run walk-off homer for the Angels. I think Jeff and I, we simultaneously, you know how you do this now and then, we simultaneously sent each other the exact same text and hit send, and all it was, well, that sucked. That's how it felt, which is also something I experienced during the hockey game, which was in the middle for me of the watching habit of the Spurs game and the A's game, because so the Sabres and the Canadiens, game 7, whoever wins goes to the conference finals. It's 2-2. They're going to OT. I'm trying to watch all of this at once, and they're in overtime. It doesn't even matter what happened. It was this. I'm thinking again. I was thinking of you, Steve, after the fact, Mister. This is why I love the NHL. This is why I love hockey. I had this moment where I'm like, this is why I hate the NHL. Like, it's all exciting. It's so exciting. The Sabres and the Canadiens, and they're going at it, and they're in overtime, and then, boop, game over. And by the way, I can't pronounce the damn Sabres. Luukkonen, is that his name?
Yeah, Luukkonen, their goalie.
Who, by the way, he had a great game. And overall, he saved 22 of 25 at one point. Okay, I mean, he had a really good game. He wasn't even close. He wasn't even. I'm not blaming him. It's just the shot. The announcers even said the shot. It came out of nowhere. I'm sitting there. I'm starting to go, God, I'm never going to get to sleep. I got to wind down. How's this going to happen? Because I'm so excited. And I'm like, it was. I mean, look, the Canadiens, they were thrilled. We'll talk about the Sabres in a minute. But I was thinking, we don't get this anymore. The NFL got rid of sudden death. You know, you got a first team and then the second team gets to touch it. So, baseball sudden death once you hit the bottom of the ninth, and then only in the bottom of the innings. Basketball, you got to play the whole overtime period. Hockey's it. It's like, bye-bye. And it was so, and Luukkonen threw his helmet, and I get it. I get it. It just, man, what an exciting series, game, finish. It was, and Montreal erupted. It was extraordinary to watch. It really was.
Yeah, the only thing better than an overtime game 7 game in the NHL is a double overtime game 7 in the NHL. It is so much fun, and I saw the early part of this game, 2-0. I'm like, man, Montreal just has been the better team in this. And then I catch the 2-1. I'm like, maybe we can get lucky. I get to the 2-2, and I'm like, all right, here we go. Let's get this to overtime. And then in overtime, and that's what I just kept watching. Okay, let's find out. And then it was like, oh man, I was with you, even just checking on my phone. But you love it. It didn't go to a kickoff. It didn't go to the, let's put the guys on the ice and let's try to score and go back and forth. It's a true way to end the game. And, hockey, I've seen some of these games go double, triple overtimes, and you're like, oh my gosh. They have spent so much time on the ice, and it's such a difficult job. I mean, they talk about guys losing like 5-10 pounds in a game, and then you're like, okay, and then you go to overtime, double overtime. Game 7, I'm not coming off the ice, coach. I don't care, but it's that true test of endurance as well.
There's no hockey tonight. Tomorrow night, Vegas and Colorado play, so we'll talk about that tomorrow. So we get to do what we always do. Team loses. What's next? So as they did, and I usually don't even stick around for this, but I think whatever I was flipping over to the A's game was at a commercial. They did, the shaking of the hands thing at center ice, and the fans were chanting, "Let's go Buffalo." The chant, when I said Montreal went nuts, the whole Montreal stadium was packed watching this game. The game was in Buffalo. And while they were shaking hands, game's over. Devastation, right? And the fans are chanting, let's go Sabres, let's go Buffalo, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Players not feeling so great. Tage Thompson said we were feeling good going into overtime, tons of confidence. It just sucks. One shot decided the whole season. It sucks. Buffalo coach Lindy Ruff went the other way and said it's his second 10 years coach of the Sabres, and he told his players how proud he was of them and that this loss does not define the season. And although the way it ended left a bitter taste in the locker room, the cheers that echoed in downtown Buffalo and the moments after the loss were symbolic of what was accomplished. Giant step, said Ruff. So the question is, 14-year drought over. Buffalo gets close to the conference finals. Can they? And if so, yes, what can they do to maintain this level of competitiveness moving forward?
Have another great season like they did this last season. In hockey, though, we see so many teams have that great year and then fall off outside of those great organizations. You know, Tampa Bay continues to play great hockey. Vegas continues to just year in and year out play. Boston, Pittsburgh, you know, you see these teams. I'm really hoping that Buffalo does because the city deserves it. I mean, this city hasn't had a whole lot to celebrate. You know, they lost their NBA team. The Bills lose four straight Super Bowls. The Sabres haven't done anything, and they still are maniacs. I mean, they still back their team. They are wonderful, wonderful fans there. So I'm hoping the Sabres can continue to build on this team and not regress back to the Buffalo Sabres that we've known in the past.
So, but do you look at it like sometimes we do with whatever team, football, baseball area? They need this, whether it's a person or a position, or you like just no, you've got it. You've just got to finish it.
I've never been fan with the goalies. I mean, Luukkonen's in there, Lions, and I just, for me, I want a upgrade at the goalie position, and I think you saw that during the playoffs. I mean, they kept pulling goalies and switching it out. They weren't happy. Neither one was playing great. Uh, I would like to see someone step up and take control of that goalie position for the Sabres.
All right. Now this other one, you're not gonna hear anybody talking about this. Doesn't mean the study didn't came out or come out. I'm sorry, editorial, not a study at all. Editorial. It is getting some play, but mainly online social media. I don't think I've ever asked you this, Steve. You've been running sports books your whole life, your whole adult life. Have you ever had um a crisis of morality over your role in people losing money? Let me put it that way. Have you ever said, I don't know how I feel about this?
Um, yes and no. I have some. I have a decent amount of stories that,
I bet.
you know, really, you know, players that you've known. I can tell you that I've never felt we are the moral police. It's up to the person to decide what exactly they want to do. I have never believed that we should be vultures. And if we see vulnerability, our job is to talk to the person, assist the person, help them out, find out where their frame of mind is. Um, and I've never treated it as a business in that sense. I know there's a lot of companies out there that just view it as let's bring it, but this isn't every business. We don't really care what happens. We just want the money, and I've never viewed a business that way because I don't view life that way. I think we all need to be humane. We all need to be there for the betterment of humanity and the people that we deal with. Unfortunately, I can tell you, yes, there are some sad stories, and there's more than I would like to admit. But I can also tell you that these are people that I've come to know through the course of the business, talked with them, became friends with them, have had some conversations with them, and how and where they choose to take their life from that point isn't necessarily on me.
And this is why, in my opinion, it's a totally ridiculous question, but I wanted to ask it to set the table for the conversation because this is like asking a liquor store owner if he feels bad about an alcoholic, about selling alcohol. And maybe he doesn't even know the guy is an alcoholic, or maybe he's a regular. Hey, do you feel bad? Twice a week, this guy's coming in, he's buying a fifth of Jack. No. And there's a variety of answers you might get, like, well, he could just go next door. He can go to
Mhm.
Safeway. And if you're in Reno or Vegas, he'll just go next door. sort of thing. I remember but you and I are big on personal responsibility, which is a fading thing. Unfortunately, it seems like in this country. When I moved to Reno, I was 20, barely, and then it was like for a week, and then I turned 21. And the people at the radio station that I was working at, who were my friends and such, they took time. A few of them, I don't think it was a concerted effort, to say, look. In fact, the guy I was doing a morning show with, he and I would go every payday, and we would go up to. Is the Bonanza still in existence? We would go up to the Bonanza.
Yes, I used to live right across the street from there.
It was a great local place to go. It's not downtown. You go up there, we'd play, blackjack. That was our thing. He liked craps too. But he told me, a couple other people said, "Look, this is a town that'll it'll ruin you." And you start talking. You work, on the radio. You start getting to know people. You talk to dealers, and you meet pit bosses. They all say the same thing. Yeah, there's some really awful stories out there. In their case, they're like, we don't know what's going on. And then they find out later they lost their house. It comes, and the point of those talks that they were having with me was, hey, pal, you got a paycheck, which to you at 21 is a big deal. This number, we've seen people lose all of those in one day, and so you create this system. Here's the amount of money that I can lose, and you walk in assuming you're going to lose it, and if you don't, or if you break even, or if you win, lucky you. That's been my view. This editorial hit today, NBC Sports, and happy anniversary. It was 8 months ago. I'm sorry, 8 years ago this month that the Supreme Court opened the floodgates for state-by-state sports betting, and it became, what are we up to? 40 states, I think now. Close. And as we have documented and talked about, sports leagues and networks went, we've been doing this anti-gambling thing for so long. How about we make a little money? And I mean, hello, it's everywhere. DraftKings sponsors every show that FanDuel doesn't. All of the leagues are part of these apps. Legitimize rather, gambling. According to NBC Sports and this editorial, which hit profootballtalk.com and has gone viral, has created an entire generation of folks for whom DraftKings and FanDuel are no different than commercials for Coke and Pepsi. Now, that's true. They're everywhere. You watch sports, yes, all Kevin Hart, all of them, they're advertising these things. Then they get into the addiction side and the dopamine rush and how easy this is now to to gamble, because it's literally as easy as texting for a lot of people on their phone. And even in California, where full betting isn't legalized, I can do the prop bets, and I do. And they're not wrong. My phone's right there on the sofa. I pick it up right before Sunday's games, for example, and I'm going through it. Maybe I made some notes throughout the week. Well, Steve said this. Oh, Steve said they're really good against defense. Why can't I win if I keep following what Steve says? Oh, because I don't listen to Steve. I go with my instincts, and I'm stupid. But it's right there in your phone. And so the idea here is the broader moral and ethical issues that have taken a back seat to the rush for cash. The leagues have been finding ways to horn in on the treasure chest, and they don't take any responsibility for the damage that's being done. And this came up because NCAA and Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby, who Pro Football Talk claims, without the explosion of quick and easy gambling, he never would have gotten addicted to it. I always have some pretty strong opinions about this, but I'm going to let you lead the way on this. This is the idea that the presence of the thing, whatever the thing is, marijuana, alcohol, gambling, prostitution, the presence of it being easy is what makes us do it more. Let's start with that premise, and then I'll continue, because there's a lot more.
Well, the first thing that I believe to my core is that self-responsibility. We are all responsible for our acts and what we do. Um, the ease of it. Okay, and I'll get a little personal here. I come from a whole family of alcoholics. I mean, from my brother, my sister, my father, my uncle. I come from a whole family. So am I to then just say, look, there's a liquor store in every corner, and this is the reason my whole family's alcoholics, and we need to just shut down at liquor stores because it's so easy to buy liquor and get your hands on liquor that liquor should be illegal and we should go back to prohibition. Is that even realistic? And where's the self responsibility for that? No, you know this. Um, I will tell you that I have a very addictive personality. And I know this because I've seen my family. And one of the things that we have talked about, I don't know if I've ever talked about this publicly, but my friends know this. Um, I love alcohol. I am not joking. I mean, I don't think I've ever drank anything that tastes so good. And you could to give you an idea. I mean, you give me a Frosties, a Wendy's Frosty or Jack Daniels, and I'm telling you, the Jack Daniels tastes better. The consequences of this is I do not have the consequences of the hangover or anything like that. I have always woke up the next morning and I am just like I am today. I am perfectly fine. I am ready to go. Let's go do it again. But I understood how this affected my family. It affected my life. Early on in my career, I did have someone who said, Steve, you meet all the symptoms of an alcoholic and you're still pretty young, but you are there. Um, I will tell you, I have not had a drink in over 30 plus years. Um, I know that alcohol tastes wonderful. And if I had one, I would just go, oh my gosh, and I know this, but I can't put myself in that spot just because gambling's easy and I can do it on a remote. I mean, on my phone does not mean that I should be doing it if I realize I have a problem. All of these mobile apps have responsible gaming. You can limit yourself to the amount of deposits you can make in a day or the amount that you want to make. You can limit yourself to how many bets you're allowed. There are so many ways to limit yourself. They give you the tools, but it's your responsibility to use them to limit yourself. To blame others for your actions to me has just never been right. Again, it falls into that self responsibility. And yes, it's available. Yes, it's easy. But, Rob, you talked about, I've lived, I moved to Reno when I was in high school. And I can tell you, I've blown my paycheck in a single night. I have. I think everybody has. Anybody who's lived in Nevada or anything like that has done that. But then you learn from that. What do you do? And I will tell you that I would leave my ATM card at home. This is where I started carrying a money clip because I would take however much money I was willing to come home with without and my driver's license in case I got asked for it. I will tell you there were numerous, more than I can count, that I came home with a empty money clip and a driver's license in my pocket. But that's what I put in place. I didn't have a Visa, a credit card, anything I could get a cash advance. I didn't have that debit card. I put in myself things that would keep me out of trouble to the best of my ability before I went out to ensure I didn't do anything such as blow my rent after the one time I blew my whole paycheck. But in the future that would damage, other parts of my life and or put my job at risk or my family at risk or anything like that.
Now, by the way, that's funny because whenever Christina and I would go to Vegas, I didn't. I haven't gambled in Reno. I think since I moved in 1999. When I go to Reno, I don't know why. I think I'm too busy doing other stuff. But when we go to Vegas, I would play blackjack. She and I would do the slots, the poker slots. She liked to play poker, blackjack, whatever. The way we looked at it was, we know it's a sucker's bet, but we're getting free drinks. But if I played blackjack, the only thing I would leave the room with was my ID and a very specific amount of cash, and I would give her I would either give her or I would tell her, once you're married, you've been together a while, like, look, I'm gonna have you pay for dinner. We're gonna use this card. And the first time she's like, huh? I'm like, and I explained to her, addictive personality. Hello, I'm already working on one. But I'm gonna take whatever it was, $40, $600, whatever. I've got it, and I would have to tell her You don't give me money, no matter what happens, no matter what I say, no matter how drunk you are. We can't, because you're gonna have your ATM card and other stuff. No, you got that. That was the self-limiting way of doing that. You bring up, or they bring up, and then you reinforce it. It's right here on your phone. I can make bets. Guess what else I can do? I can order alcohol right now. It can be here in 20 minutes. 20 minutes, it can be here. So the ease of these things, which is only going to get easier, is an interesting argument. And by the way, just before I continue with that and go back to this article, when you my understanding was, and maybe I misunderstood or both of them, you stopped drinking because you had started a family and you knew where it could lead, right? It wasn't like, or was there, or did you have an incident where you went, I'm just done?
No, I actually, and everybody thinks my wife is what got me to stop drinking. I actually stopped drinking about 6 to 8 months, and I knew my wife in college, and the beautiful part of that is my wife knew me when I was that drunk, stumbling, bumbling college student, and we
Oh,
were friends. And when we got together, and I think we were engaged at the time, and I asked her, because she knew I wanted to date her in college, and she even said, "Look, Steve, you weren't the type of guy that a girl takes home to meet her parents." And I said, "You know what? You're right." Um, but knowing my family, knowing these things, knowing no consequences. And the other part was I used to run around Virginia Lake. I would run every week 3 to 5 miles around the lake. And I'll be honest with you, I hate running. I get so bored in my mind. I can't take a Walkman at the time or whatever it is and listen to music. My mind goes crazy when I run. And I sat there and said, you know what? The best thing you could do would be to stop drinking, even though you love it so much and it is such a big part of what you do. But the advantage of that would be if you stop doing that, then you could stop running. I mean, you run so you can go out drinking all weekend long. So, so if you stop drinking, you could stop running. And that's really how it started playing out.
that's a great story. It was cursing you stopped when you had kids. That's what it was,
The
right? That
cursing, oh my gosh, man! Even when I got married to I swear I had such a I don't think I had 4 words consecutive that weren't profanity that came out of my mouth at any time. It was so profanity ridden. But once I got married and we had kids, it's that look, that's not the household I want my kids growing up in. And I stopped the use of profanity in its entirety from that.
Oh, I got to sit around with her and hear some of these stories about you stumbling around. All right, back to Texas Tech's Brendan Sorsby betting on games, etc. His lawyers are arguing this is now I don't know about the legal part of this, but there is some sense to it in that the lawyers have argued there's an inherent hypocrisy at play. The NCAA makes money from gambling, but it prevents its players from engaging in it. Like I said, I don't know how far that goes in a legal sense, but their argument is that Sorsby wanted the action, the rush of winning, the rush of waiting to find out whether he'd win, etc. Pro Football Talk goes on to say more and more kids are bombarded with the phony baloney notion that betting equals winning, and they will find out the hard way it almost always doesn't. And it will only get larger and larger as more people allow gambling apps on their phone. Oh, people are allowing them. How about that? To bury the hook deeper and deeper into their wallets. And Sports League says ProFootballTalk.com have chosen stuffing their coffers over giving a damn about the people who have a passion for their products. Of course they have, their big business, but that's the gist of it. We kind of already covered most of that with the personal responsibility thing. I don't know what the lawyer argument of it's hypocrisy doesn't I get what they're trying to argue. It doesn't fly with me.
Yeah, so I can sue McDonald's because I eat there one, and I don't eat at McDonald's, but I can sue Diet Mountain Dew because I'm overweight and it comes from my drinking soda, which, by the way, I will tell you is where my thing for diet sodas has come in, is that has taken my alcohol part. So I would say I'm kind of a diet soda connoisseur. And depending on my mood, there's certain ones that you sip, there's other ones you chug. But that with any of us addictive personalities, you got to get something to fill that void. And
Right.
for me, the good part has been diet soda.
So and that's the thing is I don't know. I don't know what the direction of this is because it doesn't fly with most Americans when you argue it over anything. And that's why I like using all these other examples of how easy and prevalent it is to get, depending on where you live now, marijuana, alcohol, sports betting, all of which are legal. Well, since they're illegal, shouldn't they be prevalently available? That's the whole idea, is that the consumer then makes the choice. So arguing that the NFL and ESPN are to blame for are partially to blame for the uptick in gambling, or I don't even know if there is an uptick in addiction or whatever they're going to call it. That's ridiculous. So look, there was no AI 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, really. Am I addicted to AI because I use Chat GPT every day? I don't think so. I don't run to it at every moment, but I use it to help me do my job. Am I addicted? It wasn't there 10 years ago. Now it's there. I use it. It just falls flat for me. It really does.
Someday I got to talk to you about this AI GPT or whatever the heck, because I've never used it.
Just learned how to Google recently.
And that's still at the very prehistoric stages.
Rob and Steve continue next, only on the radnetwork.com.
Longtime advertiser Sue Berry, that's Berry with an A, is more important now than ever. Sue and her team have been serving Northern Nevada and the outlying areas for 30 years, and her experience in both commercial and residential lending is vital, as every day we're bombarded with news of interest rates, the market, the economy, and a bunch of other stuff that Sue can actually make sense of while everyone else's eyes glaze over. Now remember, it's Sue Berry with an A, B-A-R-R-Y, SueBerry.com. Most people think berry is spelled like a fruit or Halle Berry, but no, it's Sue Berry with an A, like soul singer Barry White's first name.
I've heard people say.
Stop that. Sue is a broker versus a retail lender, which means she can shop over 150 different lenders to get you the very best rate possible. And on average, someone who uses a broker like Sue saves over $10,000 per loan, which includes refinancing. And if you have a rate at 6.5% or higher, call Sue for a free quote now on a refinance. Sue Berry and her incredible team from Barrett Financial can be found at SueBerry.com. That's Berry with an A. I've been working with Sue and recommending her to you for years. All you need to do is call her now so she can get you pre-approved. Just call your residential and commercial lending expert, Sue Berry, at 775-843-9983. Oh, Rob, stop. You're going too fast. What was the number again? 775-843-9983. Or just head to SueBerry.com. The number's right there. Berry is B-A-R-R-Y. Sue Berry with an A.com. That's Sue Berry, B-A-R-R-Y.com. SueBerry.com.
Disclaimer, Sue Berry, NMLS number 366040. Barrett Financial Group, LLC, NMLS number 181106, Nevada 5091, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Longtime maggots will remember Greg from MAP. M-A-P, as in Maximum Athletic Performance, which guides you to better output through better ingredients, also known as nutrition. Greg has been on the Rad Show many times and will be again, as he simplifies nutrition and helps us all understand what actually works when it comes to fueling our bodies, almost all of which can be found at maptrition.com. Every product is formulated with clinical precision and backed by science and purpose, and maptrition.com has something for every fitness level, even those of us who barely have a fitness level. With nearly 20 years as a nutritionist and a specialization in sports nutrition, Greg works with athletes and everyday individuals to optimize performance, energy, and overall health through smarter fueling strategies, all of which starts at maptrition.com. At the very least, we should all be taking daily multivitamins, and Greg has his formulated for exactly what a man or woman's body needs. Protein is in, but maybe instead of getting yours from mac and cheese with extra protein, you get it from maptrition.com. And of course, all things workout, training, and exercise are available as well. From pre-workout to creatine and other muscle builders to recovery supplements and more, all at maptrition.com. From morning breakfast essentials to post-workout recovery and everything in between, maptrition.com's full range of supplements, proteins, and wellness products are built to power your journey from start to finish. Check out all the products and find what's right for you and order it shipped to you, all at maptrition.com. That's maptrition.com.
just like you. They dreamt of hitting the game-winning homer to win the World Series. And just like you, well, you know. Once again, here's Rob and Steve on the Rad Network.
Got this email, ras@theradnetwork.com. You can email us anytime. Doesn't matter if you watch or listen live or later. By the way, if you do watch, make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. It's ras@theradnetwork.com. We got this one from Jason. Jason's a longtime listener. And we were talking yesterday about Aaron Rye winning the PGA Championship. And up until then, he had been known as the guy that wears two gloves. So I told the story about playing a round of golf at Dayton Valley Country Club in Dayton, Nevada, the day after a huge snowstorm. It was freezing, flurries everywhere. There's snow, but the course was playable, so I had to wear two gloves because it was cold. And Steve commented on what a great course is. Jason wrote in and said, "Welcome back, gentlemen. It is so nice to have you guys back chatting sports. Thanks for the plug at my old course. It's in great shape. If either of you are in Northern Nevada, don't hesitate to contact me." Jason was the golf shop manager at Dayton Valley Golf and Grill. I don't know what he's doing now, but apparently he left on good terms so that we can call him next time you and I are both in Dayton at the exact same time. But thank you for listening.
Man, I would love to go play that course with you. That's one of my favorite courses.
After a few warm-up rounds so that we don't
It'd be a lot of warm-up rounds.
We did mention in our opening segment, exciting yesterday for sports fans. Wembanyama puts on his clinic. Sabres lose Game 7, but it was a Game 7, and we talked about T.J. Ginn almost getting no-hitter. They threw 8, and then gave it up in the bottom of the ninth to the Angels. Gave up the game 2 on homer. We didn't talk about the fact the A's still remain in first place, even though they've lost 3 in a row. They're a game ahead of the Mariners and the Rangers. They're going to go back at the Angels tonight, who are in last place, 6.5 back. And the A's are throwing Jacob Lopez at 6:30 tonight if you're on the West against Reed Detmers.
Yeah, Reed Detmers is the ace of this Angels team. He's having a decent year, just doesn't get the wins because the team's not very good. Lopez, I am not a fan of him at all. His whip's 1.7. His ERA is right around 6. Does have the winning record with 3-2, but he's going to give up a lot of base runners out there. Right now, the Angels are a slight favorite in that 125 to 130 range. A's have the advantage of that lineup. I mean, this is one of those, if they can get to Reed Detmers and Lopez doesn't fully explode, maybe the A's have a shot here. I don't like him. I think he's a bad pitcher. And the A's, this is one of the cases where I keep talking about the A's need to upgrade their starting staff by the time they get to Las Vegas because Lopez really shouldn't be in the major leagues.
Sorry. You've kicked him out of the majors now?
He's not good. I mean, he's been serviceable as of late, but he's not good. He's given up 26 runs in 39 innings pitched.
That's not good.
25 walks in 39 innings pitched. So it's not even, I could tolerate the runs. Hey, look, 39 innings pitched. Maybe he has like 50 Ks. So he's a hard thrower who, just needs to get command, but he's not even a strikeout pitcher. 29 Ks, 39 innings with 25 walks. He's almost a walk per K pitcher in a bad way.
That is not good. You're right. I grant you that. Now, the Atlanta Braves, they are one game back of being the best team in all of Major League Baseball. They've taken their hits. It's not like it's been a cakewalk for the Braves, and now they have placed catcher Drake Baldwin on the 10-day IL. Here we go again. If it ain't foreign bodies in a pitcher's arm, it's an oblique. Yep. Baldwin's got an oblique muscle on the right side this time that'll keep. He was the rookie of the year last year. He was hitting .303, 13 homers, 38 RBIs, 932 OPS. So the Braves, they're still 7 games up in the East. They've got the plus 86 run differential. It's not like they're going to suddenly fold and cave, but there is that question of how many hits can a great team take? I assume the Braves will absorb this one. Is it a concern at all? I mean, other than you're losing a hell of a player.
Yeah, it keeps happening. So what are the Braves doing? They're turning back to Martin Perez. the guy that started the season, and he's had a good season for him, but the Braves understand he really isn't a major league pitcher at this point, but he's been serviceable for them. Started the season off, got a couple of wins. They released him. No team claimed him. So they signed him back to a minor league deal, and another pitcher goes down. So they bring him back. He starts and he throws a shutout in that next outing. Is just amazing. He started 5 games. He's only given up 7 runs so far, but he can't break glass with his fastball. It's amazing, but this is why there are good teams out there. And when you look at his numbers, he's 2-2. Okay, his ERA is 2.25. His WHIP is 0.94. And again, it just shows sometimes you just have to know how to pitch. He is that example. It's not going to last forever. But when you can spot start him here or there and he can find wins for you, as he's been able to with this Braves team, I feel for him because Drake Baldwin is going to be a devastating injury for this Braves team. You're going to have to see Sandy Leone carrying the bulk of that. And Sandy Leone, I mean, he was with the Red Sox. He's floated around the league. This guy hitting anything above 200 is a bonus. So they're going to have to pick it up offensively.
You're brutal today. You've got like 2.5 guys you're kicked out of the majors. The Braves are played at Miami. That game starts in about an hour. We got some interesting news, great news if you're a baseball fan, about Tariq Skubal. His arm feels better than it has all season now. That's 2 weeks after having surgery to remove what? A loose body from the elbow. It was that or remove his oblique. The Tigers ace is already freely throwing bullpen sessions, says he has had 0 symptoms since the surgery. Skubal says, I want to go out there. First of all, he says, I'm throwing and I want to throw full blast. They won't let me. There is still no established timetable for his return, but it's all good news for a Tigers team that has been going the wrong way. They've lost 3 in a row. They've lost 8 of their last 10. Yes, they're still in the volatile American League Central, but they're now 6.5 behind the first place Howardians, who they're playing, and Parker Messick, who's having a hell of a year with his 2.35 ERA, is throwing for the Howardians against the Tigers.
Yeah, Parker Messick has been really good so far this year. Montero, though, he's thrown the ball really well for the Tigers as well. His WHIP is under 1 right now. He's 2-3, but Messick, he's the guy who took the no-hitter into the 9th inning for the Guardians a couple of starts back. It's just this Tigers team's just not hitting, and the Guardians are getting it going. And I want to speak a little bit more to the Guardians. I mean, they got Angel Martinez, a good young outfielder for them. He's hitting like 270, but they brought up Bazana. He's the second baseman. He was their number 1 pick, I want to say, in the 2024 draft. This kid has been phenomenal. He is changing the way that this team is playing. He's hitting 281, but his on base is 410. He plays great second base for him. And then you add Chase DeLauder. He's the kid last year who made his major league debut in the playoffs, not even during the regular season, in the playoffs, and then became their number 3 hitter. He is that good. So the Guardians have gone to this use movement. You add in the, Parker Messick. The Indians are just one of those great organizations that keep developing kids. They can't hold on to the players who move on outside of Jose Ramirez, who's been there forever and is finally heating up as well. Tigers, though, are just struggling. And I'm really wondering, where's Edwin Diaz and Blake Snell going to be now that Tariq Skubal had the same loose bodies in his elbow, and he's back throwing after 2 weeks? And Edwin Diaz has been out for a while. And how long is it going to take place? Is Skubal going to put pressure on those two to get them back sooner? Or are they just going to, you know what? I don't care if he's going back. We're still going to take our time and do what's right, which I'd like to hear. I just, as a fan standpoint, how can this guy be back throwing in the majors in 4 weeks or however long it's going to be. He's already thrown the ball. And Edwin Diaz has been out since basically opening day and won't be back until after the All-Star break.
All right, well, let's go to the other name that you mentioned in there, the Dodgers. First, we'll do the non-Snell news and then the Snell news. So we could do it, I guess, as bad news, good news, whatever. Tyler Glass now, who went on the IL because of back spasms on May 8th, has just been shut down. This makes zero sense, by the way. General manager Brandon Gomes made the announcement they have shut him down and then said, quote, "There's no concern long term, but his timetable is nonetheless uncertain," end quote. I'd be concerned if I was a Dodger fan to hear that.
Yeah, Tyler Glass now, when healthy, he's as good a pitcher as there is in the bigs.
Now, Blake Snell, dealing with loose bodies in the pitching elbow, will undergo the same nanoscope procedure used on Tariq Skubal, which could, they hope, cut the recovery time in half. I don't know at which point that decision was made. The nanoscope is a thinner tool utilized by this orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Neil Atrochet, that makes the surgery less invasive. A typical arthroscopy to remove loose bodies usually requires a 4-month recovery, as is the case with Dodgers closer Edwin Diaz. There we go. We covered both names.
Good to know. Thank you for the update. So I want to see how fast Blake Snell is back because
Right.
he's using the exact same procedure.
He is. And again, it sounds to me like it was a natural progression that they did it, not so much, oh, look at Tariq Skubal, he's coming back this quickly, and so we're going to do it. But it's just that people are moving towards this because it's a quicker recovery. But yeah, Snell, what did we say yesterday? He's thrown 130 innings in 2 years, the last 2 years. Come on. Speaking of, Miguel Andujar homered off Yamamoto in the first inning last night, and the Padres snapped the Dodgers' 5-game winning streak because that was it. First inning, home run, 1-0, and the Padres win. So they're going to go at it again today. Where did it? Hold on. I got it here. I just want to. Anyway. All right, they're going to go at it today. Griffin Canning. Who the hell is Griffin Canning? He's had some bad outings for the Padres, and Emmett Sheehan is going for the Dodgers today.
Yeah, and what a great game last night. Padres 1-0. As you said, Andujar, he was with the A's last year, traded the Reds. That one bad pitch Yamamoto did, but the Dodgers, that really questions me on their hitting. They do have Emmett Sheehan on the mound. He's thrown all right as of late. He's had kind of a so-so season, up and down, but he's only given up 3 runs in his last 2 starts. Going up against Griffin Canning, who is coming back for the Padres. He's had 2 starts to this point. This guy's given up 13 runs in his 11 innings. He's actually had 3 outings. His last outing, he didn't even get out of the second inning. Gave up 6 runs. The outing before that, 4 1/3, 6 runs. So if he can't bring back those Dodger bats like the Angels did, I don't know what's going to happen here. And the Padres, they got to get something out of Machado and Tatis. You cannot continue to expect to contend with the Dodgers if your 2 star players are not hitting. I want to see them come back, but I give them credit. They're playing great baseball. They're 11 games over 500, and Machado's hitting $180. It's amazing how much this team plays team baseball. It's a fun team to watch play. And once those guys start hitting, who knows how good this team's really going to be.
After last night's win, the Padres have won 4 in a row, 7 of their last 10. They're half a game over the Dodgers going into last night. So we're talking about Skubal. He's going to be back quicker. We just don't know exactly when. You got Glass now. Snell, will he be back as quickly as Skubal? Which brings us to the Yankees, who by Yankee standards are struggling a little bit. And their ace, Garrett Cole, could actually make his long-awaited return from Tommy John surgery even sooner than expected. Manager Aaron Boone yesterday said the club is considering whether to stick with their plan to have Cole make a 7th and final rehab start in the minors, or just bring him up and let him play in the majors. The Yankees began the season without not only Cole, but also Carlos Rodon, who has not done great since coming back. He returned on May 10th, struggled in his first 2 starts. Max Fried placed on the IL with a bone bruise. that'll probably turn into a foreign body of some kind. No timeline on Fried's return. So some people, Steve, are seeing this as, are the Yankees getting a little desperate?
I think there's a little urgency here from the Yankees. I don't think they expected the Rays to continue to play this good of baseball. I don't think anybody expected it. Yankees with a nice win, though, yesterday. Will Warren did not have his best outing. I'm sorry, Ryan Weathers did not have his best outing. He gave up 5 runs in 5 1/3 innings. And the Yankees lineup's a little bit different. Their shortstop went down. Anthony Volpe, who had been their starting shortstop for the last couple of seasons, is back now playing shortstop. We'll see where this goes. He's hitting 308, 2 for 4 last night. But he has really struggled offensively. And last year, if you remember, he had a very difficult time. He was a very poor defensive fielder, and defense used to be one of his strengths. Blue Jays tonight going with their ace. I mean, Dylan Cease. There's a reason they brought him in. He's pitched well. His last outing, 7 innings, 1 run. Outing before that, 7 innings, no runs. He's the guy the Blue Jays have to get it done with. But I question this Blue Jays lineup. I mean, Vladdy Guerrero still hitting with no power at all. George Springer is back, but he's hitting a buck 96. So that Blue Jays offense that we all watched go through the playoffs into the World Series just as a shell of what they had been from last year. They got to find a way. They're still 5 games below 500. If they're going to have any chance of starting to push this Yankee team, they need to start performing and hitting offensively and getting better pitching. I mean, Kevin Gausman's been really good. Dylan Cease has been pitching good. They got Trey Savage. He's the kid who came up last year, pitched great in the playoffs. He's finally back healthy. He's had 4 starts. So it's time for this Blue Jays to start making a move. I'm hoping to see them do something.
Well, that was kind of when do we get so right now the Yankees who we were talking about originally, are they getting a little, you say urgent, desperate, whatever? They've lost 7 of their last 10. They're playing the Blue Jays head to head. The Yankees are 3 full games behind the Rays now. The Blue Jays are 10.5 back in this bottled up American League East. They're only a half game ahead of the Orioles and a game ahead of your Red Sox. When I mean this honestly, on the calendar, when do we go, okay, that's it? They're not doing anything short of the Tigers. What, a year ago? Was it a year ago or 2 years ago? And everybody wrote them off and they came back. When is it reasonable to say, can we stop rooting for, in this case, the Blue Jays to show us life? Is it the end of this month? You were kicking the Giants out of the major leagues yesterday pretty soon.
Yeah, the Giants team, I got some serious questions. And the Blue Jays, I think there has to be some urgency, because if they fall too much farther behind, I don't see how they catch the Yankees, let alone Tampa Bay Rays. So now you're wild card at best, and you're not even going to get the top wild card spot. So you're fighting for one of the bottom wild card spots. They have to turn it around and make something happen here. The Yankees, we're seeing their urgency, and they're 10 games above 500 by possibly moving Garrett Cole's return date up a start, because they need to get some production there as well. And Will Warren goes for the Yankees today against Cease, who I said is the Blue Jays ace. This guy's 5-1 with a whip of 1.1. And most people are going to say, who's Will Warren? But he's pitched really well for the Yankees. So this is not a slam dunk game by any means. I mean, the Yankees are favored in this game for the Blue Jays, but you can't be lingering with the Orioles and the Red Sox. You got too much talent. And the longer you hang out at that bottom of the division, the faster you're going to be out of it altogether. And then you hit the All-Star break and the trade deadline going, okay, who are we moving? Or are we going to stay pat and just know that maybe next year we got a chance?
Speaking of bottom of the division, you already mentioned their name. The Giants decided to travel to Arizona to get their butts kicked by the Diamondbacks 12-2 last night. And the Giants are the team that's happy the Colorado Rockies exist, because otherwise there's not a lot of good news. Giants, then they're 9.5 back in the National League West, where you got to deal with the Padres and the Dodgers. They're 8 games under 500. There's been almost everything to question about the Giants, the manager that they hired, the way that they've managed this entire team, moves that they're making, all the slumping, the production they're not getting. They lose 12 to 2, Steve. They face the Diamondbacks again today. We've got to be getting close. We're closer on the Giants than the Blue Jays of saying, all right, pack it up, right? Let's fold it in and put you in the cupboard until next year.
Yeah, I think I already reached that point with the Giants. I don't understand some of the moves. I mean, they gave Eldridge a start yesterday, and I was all over them yesterday. With you call this kid up. He's like one of your top prospects, and then you play him sporadically. Give him his chance. I know he's not performing. He got back in the lineup, got 2 hits. If he doesn't get a start tonight, I am just going to lose it on the Giants. But their season's over. I love the moves they made, pitch and defense to go along with that hitting. The problem is this team can't hit. They can't score runs. They're not manufacturing runs. They're not being like the White Sox. And we're going to bunt. We're going to steal. We're going to go first to third. We're going to move runners. We're going to create chaos and make the other team defend us. They're boring, slow, and just there's nothing there. And I don't know if it's a Buster Posey built team. And they got to look at Posey. I don't know if it's the manager they brought in who's still adjusting to major league level. I mean, he came out of college, but to go to Landon Roop, he's the pitcher tonight. He's had a good season. He did get roughed up a little bit in 2 of his last 3 outings. At LA, he gave up 4 runs in 5 innings, and then he had a game against Tampa Bay, 4 runs in 4 innings. But he is a good young pitcher for him. They need to find a way to score some runs. Ryan Nelson's going for the D-backs. He's had a good season too. His whip's 1.1, but his ERA. So when he's given up runs, it's all been in bunches. He's 1-3. Giants need to step up tonight. This is their opportunity. Let's get Rupa win. Please.
These seem like 2 other teams that I mean personally I'm like yeah, but we'll see. This silliness last night between the Mets and the Nationals, 2 teams that in my mind don't matter much other than the fact that the Mets and the Nationals. The story last night was a 10-run 12th inning so, by the Mets. That's right, in the 12th inning, 10 runs to beat the Nationals 16-7. New York became the first National League team to score 10 runs in an extra inning since the 1919 Reds. The Nationals were nice enough to make 4 errors and leave 19 runners on base throughout the game, kept it close until the 12th. And they'll go at it again today. Again, you're dealing with the last place Mets. Yes, they've won 7 of their last 10. They're 10.5 back. The Nationals, okay, they're 9 games back, 2 games under 500. But oh, by the way, they play in the same division as the Braves. And what are they? They're McLean and Griffin today.
Yeah, Nolan McLean is the ace for the Mets. I'm really hoping he doesn't turn it into Jacob deGrom, not in the sense of a great pitcher. I want him to be that great pitcher, but just a great pitcher who's having a great season and just can't win. I mean, he's 2-2 right now. He is one of the top young pitchers in the game. The Mets, I gotta believe they're wishing they could keep some of those 10 runs in the extra innings to hold them over in some other spots. They need to get consistent. But Bo Bichette yesterday, 3 hits. Benj and one of their rookies, 3 hits. Juan Soto, still just such a monster at the plate. He got a couple of hits, but they made that trade for Marcus Semien. He's hitting 228 on the season. AJ Ewing, another good youth. Since they brought him up, he's added a little spark to this offense, and maybe they can get it done. Nationals, just no pitching. I mean, that's been their problem. We see it with these bad teams. James Wood, if you haven't seen him, you want to check this kid out. He's one of the best young hitters in the game. And CJ Abrams, I can never stop harping him. Another great shortstop that's going to get overlooked. He's already been overlooked with all the other great young shortstops coming up. Guys hitting almost 300. Nationals, they can hit, they can't pitch, but Forrest Griffin's been one of their better pitchers so far on the season. His whip's 1.1, but last outing, 9 runs he gave up in 4 1/3. I'm really curious to see how he bounces back. If he gives up 3 runs, it's going to be tough for them to win the game because McLean is that good of a pitcher.
So you had the Mets and the Phillies and the Red Sox were all going through at similar times these horrific losing streaks. The Mets are the only one that kept their manager. The Phillies, meanwhile, they didn't even get the manager they wanted. They wound up with Don Mattingly, who's the interim manager. He was the bench coach. And the Phillies are now 16-4. I mean, we're just going to do the Mattingly watch until this stops. This is ridiculous. Their winning streak is at 5 games. They beat the Reds 5-4 last night. They go at it again today. The Reds will send Chase Burns against Jesus Luzardo, and I'm still wondering the Mattingly factor here. I know you said yesterday, Steve, well, there's a lot of things going on here. Something changed, and that's cool.
And it really is. And the thing that I'm going to add to that is Kyle Schwarber's their big slugger. He was out last night's game, didn't play due to illness. He's not even playing today. So even when he was in, 3 weeks ago, this team couldn't beat anybody. And now they're even finding ways to win without him. It's a great thing. They got Jose Luzardo on the mound. This guy is one of those pitchers, a lot of talent, just can never be consistently. He's got about 30 runs in 50 innings. He did have a shutout his last outing, 6 innings, no runs. But then the outing before that against Colorado at home, 3 innings, 6 runs. You don't know which one you're going to get. But Chase Burns, I like this kid for the Reds. His whip is 1 right now. You look at him, he's 5-1 of the season. He's one of the reasons the Reds are even in contention in that division. Last outing, 6 innings, no runs. Outing before, 6 innings, 1 run. Outing before that, 7 innings, no runs. He has thrown the ball really well, but the Reds can't hit. That seems to be my story for all these teams, is they just have no offense. But that's probably why the major league average in baseball now sits at about 240.
Although you did mention Schwarber, who's not playing today, didn't play yesterday. This is one of these silly things we do. It's more silly in April, obviously, than it is in May, but it's still silly. If this player stays on this pace, here's what will happen. Right? That's the joke the first week of the season. Hey, pick a team that starts 3-0. The Giants are on a pace to win 162 games. All right, well, it's a little deeper in the season. Schwarber is off to a historic start. 20 home runs in his team's first 45 games. Again, he hasn't played the last 2. He has 9 home runs in his last 8 games. He's the first player in baseball to reach 20 home runs this season. First player since 2006 to hit at least 20 in the first 45 games of the season. And the only names that join him are Barry Bonds, Albert Pujols, and Ken Griffey Jr. If he stays on pace, Schwarber will hit 72 home runs this season. Now, he's missed 2 because of injury. Are you ready to start the Schwarber 70 watch yet, or do you want another month of details?
I need easily another month of details. The question that I would have in that is Schwarber 70 home runs is going to hit 230?
Probably.
Because that's where he's hit. I think, and you roll into the Griffey, the Bonds, the Albert Bells. I mean, all of those guys are hitting well over 300. This guy's going to flirt with 60 homers this year and not hit 250, which again just shows how the game has changed from what we've known.
Rob and Steve continue next, only on the radnetwork.com.
Longtime maggots will remember Greg from MAP. MAP, as in Maximum Athletic Performance, which guides you to better output through better ingredients, also known as nutrition. Greg has been on the Rad Show many times and will be again, as he simplifies nutrition and helps us all understand what actually works when it comes to fueling our bodies, almost all of which can be found at maptrition.com. Every product is formulated with clinical precision and backed by science and purpose, and maptrition.com has something for every fitness level, even those of us who barely have a fitness level. With nearly 20 years as a nutritionist and a specialization in sports nutrition, Greg works with athletes and everyday individuals to optimize performance, energy, and overall health through smarter fueling strategies, all of which starts at maptrition.com. At the very least, we should all be taking daily multivitamins, and Greg has his formulated for exactly what a man or woman's body needs. Protein is in, but maybe instead of getting yours from mac and cheese with extra protein, you get it from maptrition.com. And of course, all things workout, training, and exercise exercise are available as well. From pre-workout to creatine and other muscle builders to recovery supplements and more, all at maptrition.com. From morning breakfast essentials to post-workout recovery and everything in between, maptrition.com's full range of supplements, proteins, and wellness products are built to power your journey from start to finish. Check out all the products and find what's right for you and order it shipped to you all at maptrition.com. That's maptrition.com. If you've never heard of microseal, let me tell you what it isn't. It is not a really small marine mammal. Get it? A microseal? Oh, fine. Just ask AI. AI describes microseal this way with a bunch of AI words. Microseal is a premium, eco-friendly, and biodegradable fabric protection spray that penetrates deep into fibers to provide permanent stain, soil, and sun fade resistance for rugs, furniture, and delicate fabrics. It uses nanotechno blah 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 and blue 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 blue. What AI is trying to say is that microseal is non-toxic, non-allergenic, safe for pets and children, and although AI doesn't say this, it should, you need to contact a longtime maggot Joel from AdvantageSteam.com right now to get him to apply microseal for you. You can even make appointments online at AdvantageSteam.com. We've had microseal for years at Williams Manor, and it treats a lot more than carpets. Microseal protects virtually all fibrous materials, including wool, cotton, silk, suede, leather, and synthetic fabrics. It protects upholstery, carpets, rugs, draperies, and clothing, including wedding dresses. And ladies, you're going to need what? 3 or 4 of those in your lifetime. And it protects against stains, moisture, and UV degradation without changing the texture. Also, if you're an interior designer, Joel has a special program just for you, and all you have to do is say the password, which is what? What? There's no password, I guess. Never mind. Whoever you are, contact Joel at AdvantageSteam.com. And if you're an interior designer, tell him, I guess. I don't know. That's AdvantageSteam.com, where you'll learn more about microseal and everything else that Joel offers at AdvantageSteam.com. That's AdvantageSteam.com. AdvantageSteam.com.
Just two friends talking sports and only sports. Unless Rob goes off on one of his tangents, email the show, ras@theradnetwork.com.
So I think I mentioned at the end of the first segment that I think it was the first time this year we didn't say NFL, and we might have a little bit in the sports betting thing, but we barely touched on them. All the NFL, they're falling. They're trying to make us exciting. They're trying to stay in the headlines. But sorry, NFL, most of us don't care that the Super Bowl in 2030, where it'll be played, but it'll be Nashville. Woo, whoop-de-doo. And I think even fewer of us care that Minnesota will get the draft in 2028. Woo! Only the people in those cities care. Okay, stop. Not interesting. Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice has just been ordered to spend 30 days in jail for violating his probation after he tested positive for THC. He's in jail for the next 30 days. We'll miss all of the Chiefs' OTAs and their mandatory minicamp after already serving 5 years of probation after a plea deal from his multi-car crash. So that's why he wasn't supposed to test positive for THC. So that's the breaking news out of the NFL. Okay.
Wonder if the Chiefs will trade him away like they did Tyreek Hill. I mean, if he's becoming more of a distraction off the field, how long does Andy Reid tolerate it?
That's an excellent point. By the way, speaking so there's this story also on ESPN, and I know the answer, so I didn't really click on it. It just came out about an hour ago. The headline about quarterbacks and teams, etc. Why Browns are giving Deshaun Watson another chance to be quarterback one. Well, we know the why, because they're paying him $262 million, and the owner is an idiot, is practically strangling Stefanski to put him at number one and make him lose the job kind of thing. Of course, that's ahead of all-pro Shedeur Sanders and at least 2 others, and who knows how many. There's also talk that the Browns are going to carry 4 quarterbacks all season. They're the Browns.
Everything I am reading is Deshaun Watson is looked really well. He's fitting in with the system. He's run it before. He's looking sharp. And I think the thing that I know I missed because reading the article, he's only 30. I swear this guy has been around forever. I thought he was like 36, 37 at this point in his career. Hasn't played a whole lot of football in the last, 4 or 5 seasons. But they say he's looking really good. And only the Browns, because I'm going to throw a hypothetical at you here. So they're playing Deshaun and worst, one of the worst contracts ever in sports history, if not the worst. What if he goes out and has a really good season, puts the Browns in playoff contention to where they look like a pretty good team? Does Cleveland double down and sign him to an extension and continue to pay him this money based on the fact all the money they've wasted on him on this contract? But if he has a great year, and this is, I believe, the last year of his contract, and he makes him look good, do they make that mistake and sign him again?
I mean, my gut instinct says, without thinking too much about it, it's the Browns. Yes, the Browns do it. Um, are the
What?
in your hypothetical though? In your hypothetical, are the Browns with a healthy, dialed-in Deshaun Watson and Myles Garrett? Are they good enough to sneak into the postseason? In your
Okay.
hypothetical,
So in the hypothetical, if it's the Deshaun Watson who was the quarterback with the Houston Texans that we saw that was an electrifying quarterback, yes. Do I think he can ever get to that point again? No, I think he's been too far away from the game. Do I think he can become pretty decent? Yes. Is a pretty decent Deshaun Watson with this Browns defense, Myles Garrett and stuff, a team that can contend for a playoff spot? Yes. My
wow.
part that I hold against that, though, is if I'm the owner, I'm the GM, I would not permit my team to be even flirt with the possibility to put myself in that situation. I would say it's the worst contract in NFL history. I'm going to eat it. It's going to go away. If he resurrects his career, I want it to be somewhere else because I don't want to get stuck with that possibility of him having a good season this year. And then what do we do going forward? So I don't let him play. I would have cut him and just moved on and said, look, Shador Sanders is our all pro quarterback. Let's find out how bad he can be this year. Set me up for a really nice draft pick next year and go get my quarterback. But this way, there is no temptation, no flirtation, no anything with Deshaun Watson. I can make a clean cut and be secure about it.
This is how the NFL.com describes or defines the contract. Deshaun Watson is in the final true year of a 5-year, $230 million contract. What does that mean? True year? What? Do you know what that means?
My guess would be they have a team option, maybe that sits there where they can exercise it. That's the only thing I can think of is, and if it's a player option, then if I'm Deshaun, I would have already exercised it.
Yeah, this makes even less sense because that's what I thought. And then when you scroll down, it says contract status, free agent, unrestricted in 2027. Anywho, so we'll see what comes of that. Your hypothetical is an interesting one, and that is why. So, final year of the contract, that makes even more sense to your thing of you're going to pay him either way. Why not just cut him and avoid it? Okay, he goes out, he gets the team to the playoffs. The thing against Watson was a couple things, and one of them was all this baggage. He was never convicted of anything, never even charged with anything. Grand jury wouldn't do it, but it's all icky, and a lot of teams didn't want to deal with the ick. Well, has time passed? If he's good enough to get him into the postseason, or because my gut without thinking is there's a handful of teams that wouldn't pay him what he made. He'd have to do a Kyler Murray deal or something like that. But there's a handful of teams that would take him, wouldn't they? If enough time's passed.
If he plays and plays well, I think there's going to be more than a handful of teams that will be willing to go out and say, look, okay, hey, he's proven himself. He can win football games and we're going to bring it in. We've all, understand and have known that uh, that players are able to be overlooked if they can show they can help the team win games. If you're the Browns, are you willing to continue to go down that road? And as the Browns, I would let him go. I wouldn't even give him that possibility.
By the way, you're so right. I had the exact same reaction. It was a couple months ago when you gave me that damn homework assignment about first round draft quarterbacks and the value of their contract, Sam Bradford, whatever the hell. But I had the same reaction. Deshaun Watson's only 30. I think it was
Yeah.
the pain of the contract and then all the accusations and the covering of it endlessly. It's like, oh my god. Point being, he'd be 31 and seemingly healthy and had an actual real all pro year under your hypothetical. Of course teams would go after him.
And I'm going to bring an old name. Chris Winkie, I swear, started his NFL career at 30 years old. He was so old with the Panthers at the time. Who's to say that? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No. I was just going to say, Chris Winkie was there when he started his career. Deshaun Watson, 30 years old. I mean, he's just hit his prime as a quarterback.
And yes, in theory, and even though he's missed so much time, has he gotten super healthy? That I mean, especially with these reports, because I've seen him too. You're right. Everybody says he looks amazing. So if he can stay healthy, your hypothetical might not be that ridiculous, and it's another one I would love to watch play out. The rumor, as not much of one, but the rumor today out of the NFL is that the San Francisco 49ers are continuing to try to figure out what to do about their wide receiver core. Juwan Jennings gone. They got Mike Evans, but he had a nagging hamstring issue a season ago. He only played 8 games. They've got Ricky Pearsall, who missed 8 games with a knee injury. They've got Christian Kirk, who's played 33 games across the last 3 seasons. I don't even know if, as a Niner fan, I could have named Christian Kirk. They drafted Dejon Stribling, and hey, there's always Brandon Ayuk. Burp. So, what are they going to do? The rumor today is, and this all comes from Sports Illustrated's Albert Breer, who says that the New England Patriots are not interested in doubling down on Kayshon Boutte, and that the Niners should go after him because he's available for a late pick in next year's draft, like 6th or 7th. He's coming off back-to-back productive years in New England, caught a combined 76 of 114 for 1140 and 9 touchdowns. Final year of his rookie contract. Patriots aren't going to pay him, they say. So that started the, okay, well, who needs receivers this year moving forward? And the Niners, who knows if there's any legitimacy to it, but it got national attention today.
Yeah, and I think I'm just sitting there waiting for the A.J. Brown trade to the Patriots to be announced. And then with that, I would already have in their ears, look, Patriots, we're willing to offer you, a 6th round pick, maybe a 5th round pick, and let's bring Boutte to San Francisco. I think it'd be a great pickup. And I think that's the insurance policy they need. And then, let him prove it. You didn't invest anything. If at the end of the year he walks away, it's not like you drafted him. The Patriots are moving on from him, and just see how he fits. How are the injuries going to be? Because I question that wide receiver room. I love Mike Evans. I mean, he's great, but he's getting up there in age, and is he going to be able to play, 12, 13 games, let alone 17 games? And Christian Kirk has been hurt for the last, as you said, last 3 years. So you have a very questionable wide receiver room. And I think this would just help add a little depth and allow some people to get healthy and figure out where you're going to go for the season, because you don't want to be figuring out in week 5.
No, and you and I were texting back and forth during the draft, and you brought up the point when they drafted Stribling. Or is that Stribling?
Yes.
That he's lightning fast and he's a great deep threat. I as a Niner fan, I was like, good. But I also I didn't even realize until then how. I don't know if it was the Mike Evans trade that was like glossing me over it, but that it's not a deep wide receiver room, and it's not a great one. The wild card in it for me is Pearsall. Dude's at a farmer's market, he gets shot. Way to go. I mean, wrong place, wrong time. He's healthy. He seems to, he could easily be the number 2. But I would really like more. As a Niner fan, I want more, and I think Boutte, who's got he might be on his last year of his rookie contract. He's experienced. He's got good numbers. I would like that move. They need
Yeah,
to do that.
and you need the guy to stretch the field. I mean, Kirk's not going to stretch it. Evans doesn't stretch it anymore yet. I mean, if you didn't draft Stribling and say you had gone with, and I don't remember what wide receiver who was on the board, but was much more a bigger, big target type, good hands wide receiver, no one's going to be more than like 7 yards off the line of scrimmage on you at any time. They're all just going to jam the line of scrimmage, take away your running game because you know you're not going to beat me over the top. So Stribling fit, and that's why I was so excited about him coming in there. And they just need to make sure and that they add to that room because you can't just rely on the one guy to be able to stretch the field.
And Niner fans need to remember too that we don't know where George Kittle is. Where is Kittle at tight end? They've got good tight end depth, but I mean obviously Kittle, unlike Shedeur Sanders, he's a real All-Pro, and we don't know exactly where Kittle's health is. And so, well, hello, that's another receiver position. What are we gonna do? Just throw to McCaffrey all day? So we'll see. Last thing, least surprising thing. So this year, the NFL will start on a Wednesday because you got to have last year's Super Bowl winner play the inaugural game, which the Seahawks will host the Patriots. Just so happens it's a rematch of the Super Bowl. So that on Thursday night, we can all watch the Niners and the Rams from Australia. It's Friday for them, Thursday night for us. Well, guess what? That's the new thing. This is permanent now. Yesterday, during their conference call, the NFL let everyone know it was made clear the Wednesday and Thursday week 1 windows will continue moving forward, and they'll almost certainly use the exact same floor. Well, we know Wednesday will be the Super Bowl champion hosting the opening game, and the Thursday game will be an international game. So they can highlight that the NFL is in another time zone or whatever. So Wednesday, Thursday to start is here to stay for the NFL. Of course it is.
And let's fast forward to 5 years from now when the NFL finally does touch Tuesday. And we now have a Tuesday game because the first week is the 1 week you can do it without any issues and complaining. Let's go the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to open up the season with a international game in overseas, an international game, say down in Mexico City or something, or Brazil or somewhere within our time zone, and the Wednesday for the Super Bowl champion.
Have a great day. We'll be back tomorrow.
This has been a presentation of the Rob and Steve Sports Show, brought to you by the Rad Network and is copyrighted by the radnetwork.com and Williams Broadcasting for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, accounts, or descriptions of whatever Rob and Steve just talked about without the express permission of the Rad Network